My thesis explores human decision-making surrounding COVID-19 infection risk in social circles. Earlier research has already shown that people base their infection risk decisions on very easily identifiable aspects of their network. Think about the amount of people walking around you or the distance between them. I build upon this knowledge by showing that there's actually a high correlation between these mental shortcuts and these aspects and the correctness of people's decisions. Interesting, however, is that this is not a one-directional relationship. Some aspects affect it positively, while some affect it negatively.
For my thesis, I did research on appearance-related psychosocial distress following facial skin cancer surgery. We found that patients experience significant psychosocial distress after facial skin cancer surgery, and this even up to 1 year after surgery. Patients with secondary intention healing and graft reconstruction methods are at an even greater risk. These findings emphasize the need for more psychological care and more detailed information about scars, since scars need more than 1 year to fully heal. Addressing these aspects could reduce appearance-related concerns and improve patients' quality of life.
In my thesis, I developed a robust statistical approach to identify time-varying relationships in such datasets. What's more, the model can automatically identify groups of units that behave in the same way over time. So, for example, groups of countries that experience a similar decline in their per capita emissions as technological progress kicks in. But my model can be used in all kinds of disciplines, helping practitioners from economics or sociology or ecology to find important insights in data.
Because eye gaze is a powerful tool in social bonding and communication of emotions between people, my thesis investigated how oxytocin, known as the love hormone, affects human gaze toward the eyes. We found that among men participants, oxytocin increased gaze to the eyes of female celebrities only when their chest area was covered. Generally, the meta-analysis revealed that increases in eye gaze after oxytocin are mostly minimal and limited to certain experimental conditions, with the most pronounced effects among patients with autism spectrum disorder.
When the cartilage and the bone beneath it are damaged, it can cause a painful disease called osteoarthritis. Stem cells called periosteum-derived cells have been shown to be promising in repairing this type of damage. My thesis focused on how these cells, collected from individual donors, act when the joint repairment process is simulated in a lab setting. We found they can grow cartilage-like tissue, which is important for joint repairment process, however their behavior varied. By identifying patterns in how they act, we've taken an important step towards using these cells potentially in therapies for joint damage repair.
In conversations at any given point, there are endlessly many possibilities on how to continue the conversation. In my master thesis, I created a method that's similar to how our universe is made up of a stage between space and time, learns a stage between the semantics, the meaning, and the turn distance of utterances in a vector space. By utilizing this method, we create a steering mechanism through conversations where we keep the ideal future self close in this embedding space and push all utterances that embody the shadow far away.
Seksueel grensoverschrijdend gedrag is de laatste jaren steeds vaker onderwerp van gesprek. In zedenzaken loopt men al gauw aan tegen bewijsproblematiek. Er is immers vaak het woord van het slachtoffer tegenover het woord van de verdachte. In mijn masterscriptie onderzoek ik welke rol schakelbewijs in deze bewijsproblematiek kan vervullen en hoe schakelbewijs in zedenzaken wordt toegepast in de feitenrechtspraak. Deze bewijsconstructie kent de nodige haken en ogen en is dus niet geschikt voor alle zedenzaken. In die zaken die zich hier wel verlenen, kan schakelbewijs er echter voor zorgen dat de bewijsdrempel alsnog wordt behaald.
My thesis belongs to the field of critical dementia studies, which addresses issues of systemic injustice experienced by people living with dementia. My research had two methodological components. Was a documentary analysis of Italian documentaries on dementia regarding participatory filmmaking. The results were that people living with dementia, they're often either excluded from the research or they're spoken for by family members or professionals. So I spent 5 days in a daycare center where I worked with 14 people living with dementia. What I learned from my fieldwork is how easy it is to perpetrate epistemic injustice and how necessary it was for me to unlearn my ableist gaze.